2.
Yep, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yeah. 1 2 1 2. We said after Modern Artillery, right, this time we're going to get in the studio and we're going to just record live, 3-piece, slam it down, just pretend that the studio's like the stage, just get up there and just do it straight onto tape, very live sounding. And then, I don't know what happened, that kind of all went out the window because of the songs that we wrote. They tended to dictate the way that we recorded them. And in defense of that, you know, some of the songs that we ended up having on this album now really warranted so much more attention than just having them slammed out in 1 or 2 takes.
Chris going, righto, half a dozen songs a week, you know, they're just spilling out of him. So it was like we better just get into the room and start getting them down. And we didn't bother recording them as well as we did on the last album. We just did the old 4-track thing and kind of like a rough Pro Tools demo with the idea of just getting all the ideas down without, you know, skipping over anything until it was kind of complete.
Really excited about recording the new album, and I felt like we had so many good songs. It was just going to be a pleasure. And it was.
Yeah, one thing we tried to do initially at True Form was to write the songs in a manner that we knew would work on stage and not get carried away with making the songs too sort of complicated and stuff. And I know we sort of touched a bit on that on Modern Artillery, but even that album, you know, sort of was complicated in a way with songs like The Room and that. And this time we thought, right, let's just make them sound amazing in the rehearsal room. Some of the initial songs at True Form were sounding really, really good and really sort of live, and we're heading in the direction that we initially thought, a more live sounding, energetic kind of album.
Spotswood was just flat out pumping them out, pretty much.
Yep.
You know, I'd feel really, really confident in getting up and playing the album from start to finish, and I think that was because we were in that headspace of making sure that it sounded good with the three guys first before we added the horns and the strings and the opera singers. We thought that we'd maybe try Nick Launay again because, you know, there's something about Roll On that sounds really exciting, I think, still, and sounds kind of unique. It doesn't really sound like any other band. And once again, you know, the reason we chose him initially was because he had similar influences to us and knew where we were coming from.
I saw them live. The first time I think I met them was when I saw them live. I just thought they were incredible, you know, and I think they still are.
He's definitely the vibe guy. You know, he's good to have around for making everyone feel good.
We had this meeting earlier this year here in Melbourne where we were all talking about different records that we liked and stuff like that. And the more I talked to them, the more I thought, well, you know, I want to make another record with them.
And he's a workhorse too. He just makes you go take after take after take after take until I reckon we got up to like take 50 or something of some songs, which, you know, is kind of weird. It's a lot of playing one song, but you know, you never know, you might just get that one magic take or whatever, and that's the whole idea behind it.
I mean, Roll On was pretty much like that, but we wanted to like push it further. So yeah, so that was the idea, to go in and do a very raw, loud sounding record.
It was sort of an easy choice in the end. It was just whether he was up for doing it, you know, and lucky for us he was. We did Northcote Social Club before pre-production. The best way to do it is just to go, all right, well, these songs, they feel pretty good. What is it like getting up on stage now as the Living End, or the Long Necks, as we kind of went under that name, and playing it in front of a room full of people who know the band and have the albums and stuff, and will they sort of cut the mustard?
Because you find tempos and you find the ebb and flow of the song. You know, you can bring it down here and bring it up here, and you find the exciting parts of the song much easier in a live environment than in that sterile where everything sounds the same in a rehearsal room. You know, it's just.
And I just thought, I can't wait to play these songs live. Everyone I'd shown them to and demos and stuff, digging them.
We feel that if you throw yourself in the deep end, you know, and people appreciate the songs and you get good feedback, surely that means that you're doing something right. You know, you're not kind of entering the great unknown.
It's the ultimate test of a song, I think, for us anyhow, to play, because that's what we do, or I think that's what we do best, is play live. So for us to run through the songs in their rawest form, you know, some of the songs we'd really only played maybe twice or three times in working on the songs, you know. So they were extremely fresh, and it was kind of scary because, you know, you're flying by the seat of your pants, literally. From verse to chorus, you don't really know what's going to happen.
We're the Long Necks. This one's called Stand in Line.
Wanted to make sure that this album just kicked the other album's ass. You know, that was the first thing. It's got to be better than the last one, and I felt that we'd learnt so much from that it wouldn't be hard. It was just a matter of, you know, whether the songs came along or not, you know. But I knew that we could do the hard work and we could put the hard yards in and do that.
put us in the right direction, I think, in terms of what we were doing that was working. We could take that and go, right, that's a great direction. Let's sort of mould the song around that part that really works live.
And they feel, because they were written to be not so complicated and be pretty straightforward playing wise, they felt really creamy. They felt good to play live. They were easy. It wasn't like a struggle to get through the song. It was just, yeah, fun.
Sorry, the third or fourth time we played some of those songs, and tonight being the fifth or sixth time we played some of those songs, it made all the difference. I had a bit of the heebie-jeebies, like, because we're in like album mode, do we want to be getting up and playing shows in front of people, like playing these songs? Not really.
You started on like
Yeah. That's the thing. I reckon some of them are better on demo because it's like the second time we played them. Some of them are probably better live.
all better live for me.
All better live.
You got a record? Why am I being hit on the head?
It's a term of Indian.
It's a rite of passage, I think. Thank you very much.
Very
the word one.
Repeat after me. I am a man.
I'm a man! Now it's back to you at the studio.
Bruce. Can I have that? Actually, can I have that, sir? Oh, what a great edit.
Those shows were really great. I mean, pretty nerve-wracking at the same time because you're judging each song on the reaction of the crowd. So if the crowd doesn't go completely mental, you think there's something wrong with the song, you know?
You know, every gig is just as important as the next, and I don't want to do any bad gigs. I want to get the reputation for just being, you know, a killer live band. That's it. You come and see us play, you'll not be disappointed, kind of thing. And I can't stand it when bands get up there and don't put in and kind of have off nights and stuff. I mean, we've had off nights, but I still think, you know, an off night for us, you know, hopefully is still a good gig.
Rolling.
Pretty confident as a band that we know how to play and we know how to write songs, and we just want someone that can come in and enhance that. We don't feel that we need someone to come in and fix up the songs and sort of you know, guide us in the right direction, like, because I feel that we learned so much from the previous 3 albums. We definitely needed that on the first album.
We went into rehearsal with the idea of taking the songs that had been written and demoed and just making them very, very simple and try to make them, you know, arrange them obviously and make them work, as simple rock songs. It worked pretty much for most of them. There were a couple of songs that just really needed to be bigger and have a few more overdubs.
Maybe it's a good idea, but I just think, you know, I wanna know, yeah, like just power through. It's just so much stopping and starting.
Maybe when you do it live, you might want to do that, but I think for the record, I don't know.
I love it when it stops, when we stop and you go to that verse by yourself.
Well, do we need to stop on the second verse then?
Yeah.
Like that as well.
I like it all.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Maybe that's good.
Dynamics, mate.
Dynamics. We trust Nick. You have to trust your producer, and he's like a big kid, you know. Like we'd be playing in the room, and he'd be kind of like, you know, he'd be pulling all these sort of punk rock faces and kind of like this when we were playing, and he'd punching the air and all this, and you know, he was like our mascot at times. We kind of knew, all right, so this is sounding pretty good then, you know. And it was, I think that's what a producer should do. He should, you know, really sort of rally you and boost you up and all that sort of stuff when you're doing well. And it only, particularly a band like us that thrives on energy, you know, it really helps. It really helps in that way.
Like, we tried to get as much finished as we possibly could in South Melbourne, because that's the thing. Going into the studio with loose ends just means a lot of staying around going,
I mean, that pre-chorus is really catchy.
It's actually got a, on the recording it goes, any other day we will have a way. It's a real good bit.
When you come out of the second chorus into the middle bit,
Yeah.
whether we really need to, you know that fancy bit in there.
yeah.
I mean, it's really good.
I can imagine just playing all the way through there, just going.
You also cut out the build-up, huh?
Well, we could do what Scott just
Yeah, I
said.
wouldn't mind trying playing through.
Either that, because it just sounds too many stops.
When he feels that something's good, you know, we trusted him, and you know, he was completely right that a lot of the initial ideas in pre-production that were sounding really, really good have made it to the album, and so I feel that that's you know, it's really good to have someone like that there, so you don't disappear up your own butt.
He had some quirky ideas or quirky ways of working. You know, he had his little. He's got a real unique little system with a pencil, an eraser, and a piece of paper. That's his pre-production notes. Kind of weird. I don't think anyone would understand them, apart from him.
You know, sometimes you work with bands and you just get members who don't get on, and they're never going to get on, and it is a problem. But so they don't really hang out together, and they don't, you know, they do their bit and then they disappear, and you know, and with a three-piece, obviously you can't really have that. And I just, they're great band. I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to work with them again, is because it is easy. It's all about the music. It's not about egos and bullshit and I want to be louder than them and, you know, all that stuff. It doesn't come into it. The rehearsal was great fun, and then even better, after rehearsal we went up to Byron Bay, which is where we, you know, decided to record the record, and they played Splendour.
I knew that we were going to go and do Splendour, and I knew that we were going to record straight after. So immediately I start thinking, right, we've got to have a good gig at Splendour. If we stuff up Splendour, it's a bad omen, and it means that we're going to go into the recording and everything's going to be bad, and it's going to be dark clouds, and, you know, I just thought that we needed to have a good gig at Splendour.
Oh, man, it always, for us, it seems like big gigs, you know, big events, always come up when we're completely unrehearsed and completely off tour, you know, fat and chubby and slack. And because for us to play really well, I think it's really crucial that we're on tour, and, you know, 5 weeks into a tour, or 3 or 4 weeks into a tour at least, we start hitting our straps and we start playing really well, and our confidence level and our like stamina, you know, because it's a bit of a grueling set.
We've got to be good. We really, you know, if we have a shit gig at Splendour, it could ruin making the whole album, because we'll come down, you know, we'll be down on ourselves. Going into the studio, we'll be down on ourselves going, well, we really didn't do such a great job.
We thought we were going to come to Splendour in the grass, a lot of love, flowers, birds, trees, grass of all kinds. We're driving in, there's a whole lot of people there, saw who we were, drive on a bit further. Living ends suck! So that was kind of our welcome to Byron Bay. So it's all uphill from here, I would think, isn't it?
The pressure was on, you know.
What kind of stress was that? How do I measure stress? Count the grey hairs, perhaps? There's a couple in there.
I mean, how many festivals is it that you must have played over the last few years? Is it a good number?
It's a bloody good number, actually.
What's going on with the latest Living End album?
Just done a week of pre-production with Mr. Nick Lorne, who, for those of you playing at home, will know that he did Roll On for us. it's fucking awesome to be here, I gotta tell you. It is. It is.
Man, let's get this over and done with, quick, smart.
Let's go till the end.
Played a couple of new songs too, and they got really good reaction. So this is all good for our confidence, you know, going into the studio.
Thank you.
Quite a few people on leaving the side stage once they finished were like, they're back, you know. And I was thinking, they haven't really been away, have they? You know, but there is that feeling of like this is another beginning for them somehow.
It was a bit rough and ready, and we played things way too fast, which is probably my fault, but it was awesome. I mean, the crowd was just ridiculous.
So that was great to see, that a couple of these new songs already work on a live, you know, on stage. So.
What's your problem? What's on your mind? You're in everything, fall by the wayside. What's the answer to all the lies? You're in everything, fall by the wayside. You got your problem, and I've got mine. Lost transmission inside your mind.
And yeah, I could tell by the second chorus of Radio that everyone was singing the words, so that's always a good sign too.
You know, we went out on stage and we played, and it was just amazing. I thought the 2003 one was good, but this time was just so much better. It was like the tent was completely full and people were just singing every word.
So it was so pleasing, you know, to think, fuck, we're going in 2 days, we're going in to record this song. Look at the reaction it's already got. That's one of the gigs that will stay in my mind. You know, you play so many gigs around the world, yada yada, big festivals here and there, and there's just one every now and again. You know, some stick out as being more special than others, and I think that one in particular will stay with me forever, dude.
I just think I really do think they're one of the best rock bands out there. They're very, very exciting, and kids just love them. I mean, you know, going down to pretty young kids to much older kids like myself, you know, just because of the energy.
So that was also like, right, so when we go and record on Monday, we got to remember this and remember that we have got something special, and we need to try and capture that in the recording studio.
But everyone's saying we've got this amazing energy and all that kind of stuff, and we thought, well, if that's the case, we should just record live. You know, at least the bass, the drums, and the rhythm guitars, just get it all together live, which is Nick's main thing, you know.
They played so well. The crowd was, incredible, and and that was a great feeling to know that they just played this fantastic concert, and then the next day we were just going to go literally across the road to a recording studio and start recording.
Are you ready to rock?
He's waiting down at the corner under the street
How do we get
light.
it
He's
through
only
there?
following orders till midnight, and then he'll sneak back home to his wife and his everyday life. He said he's been at the pub with the boys all of the night. She acts as if she don't know, says it's alright, but he knows she don't believe him. On and on, and nothing lasts forever, and nothing lasts forever. Everything dies eventually. Close your eyes, we don't wanna see. And nothing lasts forever, and nothing lasts forever. Everything dies eventually. Close your eyes, we don't wanna see. And nothing lasts forever, and nothing lasts forever.
The first day working in any studio is always hectic. You have to set everything up. You have to find the right place for the drum kit, find the right place for the amps, and and then put all the microphones up, get all the sounds. And this time we went to a new studio that I'd never worked at and the guys had never worked at. And the reason we went there was they had this fantastic old 70s console, and I'd worked on it and made a couple of albums on that console before, and it's a great sounding board. What we didn't know was that the studio area, although it's all wood and stone and looks fantastic and looks like the kind of room that you'd walk in and get a massive drum sound and be very live sounding, we set up the drums, set up everything, and it was dead.
All right, let's give it a whirl.
It was really sterile, and that's certainly not what we were after. We were after like ugliness and lots of room sound, which is Nick's thing. He loves ambient drum sounds.
This was weird because it just was not happening at all. It was sounding really dull. So it was a bit of a downer. Even the surf went crap.
I love, a lot of room sounds, and it was just so depressing. I mean, we were like, what do we do? And we tried all the different rooms there, and everything sounded dead. Now, some people like that, and it's not to say the studio's bad, it's just not what we wanted and not what we needed for this kind of record. So it was very worrying. I mean, the first day was pretty awful.
Do it again.
Oh, wait, so here's some hats. It'll sound better. And this kick drum is really dead, so with that 24 it'll sound much cooler. Oh, that's right, yeah. There we go.
That was easy.
Guess we'll be moving then.
What we ended up doing was moving the whole band into the living room. So we used the control room and we used the living room.
Great for when we wanted to watch a video. You had the drums banging away like Andy, doing overdubs and stuff, and I'm trying to watch The Simpsons or something.
And I could watch TV while I was playing drums. I think it was just to my left.
The drums sounded better in the kitchen, and the road cases, they looked quite nice in the drum room.
Just use that bloody hallway. That was the little saving grace, was to set up and use the hallway as a room, which was, pretty kind of genius idea from Nick. Good on you. Nice foresight to be able to see that one mic down the end of that hallway was going to actually make the drums sound good. I don't know, it's just a slow-moving machine, making this whole album was.
You're going to get the satisfaction of putting a record on and going, wow, that's amazing, you know. Surely it can't be as easy as just going in and playing the songs once, press and record, done. And for us, it's never been that easy. We've always had to we've had to work at it, and we've had to work hard at it.
Maybe we should just do another one where I just try and, I won't sing, I'll just try and play. This is putting me off, it sounds shit. That doesn't sound like us. Let's just get in there and play it properly again.
He's very hard on himself. He's one of those people that will play an amazing solo, and you'll look at him, and you'll hear what he's just done, and you'll just be absolutely floored and amazed with what he's just done, and you'll turn around and look at him expecting this smile and this like, wow, look what I just did, and he'll have this look of, that was rubbish, I've got to do it again. You'll kind of maybe talk a little bit about it to try and convince him that it actually was brilliant, but you always end up doing it again, and he does it better.
After the first couple of days, when we started to get a couple of songs, the rhythm tracks down, that was when after that big slump, that was when the vibe just lifted for me. I just felt so much better. That was when I really kind of went, hey, I can see this album sounding really good now, because we were working really hard at getting takes that had the energy and had what we kind of imagined.
There's similarities between the way both of the albums were made. I mean, that they were both recorded with everybody playing at once, which is how I do all the records I make. I don't sort of do the drums first and then the bass. I think the difference is that they're all better players now. Song-wise, things were much more together this time, although some of the lyrics weren't written. So that was the tricky thing. It was just unfortunate for Chris because he'd spent all this time writing. I think he had something like 40 songs that were finished, and we actually didn't end up doing many of those. We ended up doing some of these new ones.
It was like 8 songs in 2 days or something, and 5 of them just turned out to be absolute crackers. On one hand, it was like, wow, that's really great. They're sounding really, really good. On the other hand, it was like, okay, great. So all the work that I've done on all these other songs that I've really worked hard on are not even going to make the album now. All that work and all those hours for these songs that we've come up with in like 5 minutes or something. But that's, it's the luck of the draw. I wouldn't change it because I think the album is stronger for it. But as far as trying to be prepared and trying to make sure that the pressure's off and you do the right thing and try and write the best batch of songs and maybe leave room for a couple of new ideas, a couple of songs till the last minute, that's fine. But I didn't want to be in Byron Bay, in another room, trying to finish off lyrics and trying to finish off songs and stuff. I wanted to have it all prepared and done. So that was kind of a stressful thing.
Andy's great. He'll come in and just go, I think you should do this because I think it's good. And we'll go, oh, okay. And we'll try it, and it works. You almost wouldn't expect that from him. When you first meet him, he's such a drummer. He's a drummer, He's just so, he couldn't be anything else. And usually drummers like that usually just do their drum tracks and they stay very quiet. I think the thing that's amazing about Andy is that it really feels like he's been in the band forever, and it's not like he's the new guy.
Andy Strachan, Mr. Confident. More often than not, people come up after the show and comment on what a great drummer he is and stuff, before talking about me and Scott, which is a bit of an issue, really, as far as I'm concerned. It's not like me and Scott up the front with him at the back. I feel like that he's, I turn around sometimes, he's standing up on his drum stool. I have no idea why he does that, but it looks good. Because there was only like 3 rooms, we had to create like an isolation booth for the bass to go in, which was kind of like a big cubby house, I suppose. Scott ended up being in the same room as what my guitar amps were, which completely defeats the purpose of having, you know, the clicker on the bass, because all you would have heard was the guitar spill from the amps.
Your mind is breaking up. You think you've had enough.
What do you think of bass cam? I just have no idea.
Don't let yourself decide.
And I know Scott must have lost a few kilos in there, because it was just a little sweat box that he spent like 3 weeks in or something. I pity the guy. So we just kept, you know, making sure he had cold beer and a seat.
Double bass. It just looks fantastic. He plays it like a bass guitar, but it's not an easy instrument to do that with. I mean, it's kind of madness.
Get to a certain song, you look at it in the set and you go, bugger, now I have to freaking get my way around this section and that section, which is good when you pull it off, but it's hard. It's hard.
The strings are further away from the fretboard, and you have to really pluck them and to get the right sound out of them.
When you're playing live, you really do just want to kind of put your head down and just play. You know, you just want to kind of slam it out. Simple parts are just more fun.
He's really got it down. I mean, he is an amazing musician.
You're not the only one, you're not the only one living with what you've done. You'll be the lonely one, you'll be the lonely one when the day is done.
We've come to realise that we're extremely similar. We won't stop until we get it right. And I think it's good for a producer to be like that sometimes, but for an artist to be like that as well does cause problems, because we're just constantly chasing our tails, and things do tend to take a little bit longer than they perhaps could, because we just think, oh, let's do one more take. Maybe it will be better.
Spanner. Hold your horses. I don't want to change that. I know I don't want to change that. I don't want to change that. But you know the end of the song, right? How it goes.
Putting another spanner. He's got another idea.
You know, obviously Chris is the main songwriter, but he listens to everything that everyone else says.
You know, we've really pushed ourselves again, and we've produced an album that has challenged us, and I think is going to sort of challenge, you know, our audience, I suppose, and it's going to show something that is different, and it shows some growth. You know, that's why I became a musician in the first place, is to try and further myself, and I think that I'm really glad that it's ended up that way, and hopefully, you know, people like it, you know, because at the end of the day, all the hard work and stuff that's gone into it means nothing if you put the damn thing on it. You don't like the way it sounds, and that's fine. But if you like it, then good, yeah, because there's a lot of heart and soul in it. Alright.
Probably my favourite song on the record is a song called Wake Up.
That song, Wake Up's the kind of the highlight of the album for me, I think.
It was just so catchy, and it was like a haunting song. It just, I only heard it once, and the next day it was going around my head, and I was like, what is that?
just around the time of like the London bombings and stuff, I think, and you know, it sounded to me the song had a real emotional thing about it. It sounded like a real wake-up call kind of thing. So the lyrics kind of took on that approach, you know, because I kind of had lyrics that related to that hanging around, and we just kind of come up with the rest of it on the spot in the rehearsal room, and Nick just fell in love with it immediately.
But I just had this gut feeling that it was a very important song.
And it was just easy, like it was really easy to write the song. And the first couple of times we just played it without talking about how we were gonna arrange it or anything. The arrangement just kind of fell together without us even talking about it. We just basically played the song. It sounds kind of weird.
And really felt like there was something special there and something that we hadn't done before.
And they just played this song from beginning to end, and it was perfect. I was almost in tears. I'll be honest, I was really quite overcome by this, because I loved the song anyway. I was really worried that it wasn't going to be on the record. And when they played it and then they stopped, I could tell there was just this silence in the room, and we were all looking at each other going, what the fuck just happened?
It's sort of an uplifting song, but it's a pretty deep kind of topic, you know, it's pretty deep lyrically. So, and then the idea for the kids, Nick's going, oh, you know, it'd be great to hear kids singing on the end of this. And as soon as he said it, it was like, obviously, it's a good idea. It's gonna work. You can just tell.
Suicidal education, it got sold to our generation. Wake up to the manipulation. Wake up to the situation. Suicidal education, it got sold to our generation. So wake up to the manipulation. Wake up to the situation. Suicidal education, it got sold to our generation.
Everything came together really, really well on that song. It just sounds the one song that we've got that really flows well, and yeah, I'm proud of.
There's always one on every album that just comes together in a beautiful way, and very often those tend to be the hit single. So I don't know how this stuff works sometimes. You know what we might need? You know what we might need though?
Is it any wonder that you have fallen down on your knees? You better take cover. It's gonna spread around like a disease. You were going under. You got caught running from the scene. You better take cover. It's gonna take you down like a disease. It's gonna make you suffer. Face up to your responsibilities. Is it any wonder that you have fallen down on your knees, on your knees, on your knees? And there's a black cat waiting for the moment to strike, crossing your path at the dead of midnight. A black cat waiting for the moment to strike.
If we had what we thought was enough time to finish things off, we'd still want more. It's just how it is, and I'm sure every band suffers the same thing to some degree, you know.
Yeah, it's not the album I thought we were going to make. So I figure that, you know, the best way for this band to work is to figure out what direction, what we want it to sound like at the end, and just head in the complete opposite direction.
I think Chris said one day in rehearsal, we've got to think simple, which is kind of hard. You know, there's always fiddly diddly bits on top, but the core of the song has to be simple, direct, and fun to play. Easy to play too.
Yeah!
That's all right. I know the new bass player's good. Yeah. No, but Scott's a friend of mine. You know, I would never. This album has been great for his vocals because I think he's always put the guitar first, and that's his love, you know, playing the guitar. So this time I think he really wanted to do some great vocals. I think he's never really been happy with his vocals.
Every day, ordinary. Make a break, another escape. I gotta get out. Make a break, another escape.
He did a great job. I love Chris. He's a good bloke.
Fucks with him.
Well,
You just can't get the stuff.
Well, you're the one fucking got me to sing it. Why don't I just sing Trevor?
Fuck it, just do one. Do one,
Oh, don't get me started on Kevin.
We're gonna go and we won't be found. The winners always win, the sinners always sin. Run away.
I really think that this album has a lot of singles on it. You know, I don't think there's any shortage.
The songs on this album are definitely the best songs that we've ever written.
Then it becomes like, well, which single is better? It's a nice problem to have.
One step behind, we tried to make the end of it sound a bit like Power and the Passion. It's got like big horn section and it's a big kind of exciting outro in the same vein as Power and the Passion. Well, that's what we were aiming for anyway. Starts off quite sort of mellow and I just think is a really good pop song.
They're always just one step behind, and you're so scared of what they'll find, and now you're running for your life. You're buying anything they sell. Those pushed will always say they fell. You got a postcard sent from hell.
In the songwriter kind of sense, you know, I feel most proud about the songs that are on this album. So much more than the last album, definitely.
I'm never gonna give up till the end, till the end.
The ultimate Living End record has got to be a very loud, raw, exciting record, and I think that's what we've made. In fact, I know that's what we've made.
It's a couple of weeks after you've finished it and you're sitting back and analyse everything and could have done that better, could have done this better, and it's like, oh shit, it's done now.
We tried to make it easy on ourselves by the initial True Form recordings, trying to make them really live and really simple and everything, and to sort of save ourselves the headache of working with big elaborate songs. And we've ended up with big elaborate songs, and that's just the way it worked out. It's been kind of like when you're racing to get somewhere and you're in your car and you're about to get to the traffic lights and it's green, all of a sudden it goes red. And then you take off again and you just get every red light. But that just makes the, you know, it makes the destination all that sweeter, doesn't it, really?
These songs are going to be so easy to play live. They're going to have so much more kind of energy and you know, their own kind of identity live because they were written with that in mind. This is it. This is what we're made for. You know, this is what this band was built for, was to get out there and play to people.
No, I think it's a great record. I'm very, very proud. I'm the proud father of this record. I've had my own baby. It's a loud noise called The Living End.
What's your problem? What's on your mind?
I'm
I'm not going to remember all these changes. I'm going to say that now.
It sounds really busy. Was that exactly what you were playing a few minutes ago when we said we like the John Bonham thing? Was that John Bonham after he had too much? The strumming. Is it alcohol?
Here, please.
Holy shit. It's a fucking good idea. How can it possibly have been used?
Do you know what a mojito means?
No.
Well, mojado is wet in Spanish.
Yep.
So mojito means a little bit wet.
Nice.
Like damp.
Damp?
Yeah, I'd like a damp.
A damp drink?
I'd like a damp drink.
I like this better though because the chorus actually swings like that. Yeah, heaps better. No, that's massive balls, that song.
Massive balls. You got to write that down as our notes. Take note. Massive.
The record company said it has massive balls. Big swinging nuts.
Big. Oh, I'm not going to go that far.
Maven.
Maven. What does Maven mean? What does Maven mean?
What does Maven even mean?
I don't play Maiden. Let's do it again. Super Chair want to use you know that?
What you man with my side? Why don't you give me in my life? You don't mean that I'm not that side. You don't even know what I'm talking about. Whoa, whoa, oh yeah, 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 ma, 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 ma.
Sign that kid up now.